Good evening, you're watching Newsbreak, and the big political story today, the efforts to unite the opposition. Telangana Chief Minister Chandrasekhar Rao today met Bihar Chief Minister Nitish Kumar in Patna. Both of them have said now that they're working out a main opposition front to take on the BJP in 2024, not just a third front. KCR, as I said, meeting Nitish Kumar today for more than an hour in Patna along with his deputy RJD leader Tejashwi Yadav. KCR in fact going as far as to say that what India needs today is a BJP-mukt Bharat.
He is talking about main front. Why are you talking?
आवाज के लाभ पर कुछ लोग बोलते रहता है, एकदम फालतू बात है। जो आदमी तेलंगाना को बर्बाद किया, तेलंगाना का आदमी आपको छोड़ेगा कहीं? और कुछ लोग के तेलंगाना बना है तो आजकल जो है उन्हीं का किया हुआ तेलंगाना अलग, कि तेलंगाना उसके पहले ही अलग हो गया था, निर्णय तो उसके पहले हो गया था। इसलिए कौन क्या बोलते रहते हैं वो एक अलग चीज है, उसकी चिंता आपको न रहे। आप एकदम पूरा मजबूती से और जितना अपने पूरे इलाके का और अपने इस तरह का काम करते रहते हैं, और हम लोग के यहाँ भी वहाँ काम करता है, तो सबसे तो मालूम होता है कि भैया पूरा का पूरा तेलंगाना के विकास के लिए सब तरह का काम करते हैं।
जितने भी विपक्षी दल है देश में, सारे एकजुट होकर, ताकत जुटाकर, शक्ति जुटाकर बीजेपी मुक्त भारत का नारा देना चाहिए और बीजेपी मुक्त भारत को हासिल करना चाहिए। तभी देश फिर से कड़ा हो सकता है, आगे बढ़ सकता है।
Well, let's go straight across to our panelists this evening on that developing political story today. Let me first go across to Mr. Satyaprakash Mishra, spokesperson of the JDU. Mr. Mishra, explain to us how exactly this would work, because, the Congress is at loggerheads with the TRS, the JDU and the TRS today talking about a main front to take on the opposition. But who is this front going to include?
Nidhi ji, definitely there will be no spin. The nation definitely requires on this time one nation and one united opposition. And this is the starting phase of that. That is rolling out, that is coming out in open, and definitely wait for that. We should not speculate and calculate now how that will happen. But the slogan is that one nation, one united opposition, and JDU stands for that and KCR stands for that. That is a remarkable meeting of Nitish Kumar and KCR, and where he both praised each other and demanded, and even started a campaign BJP-mukt Bharat. And at the same point of time, Nitish Kumar ji backed KCR, who founder of Telangana state. So such kind of situation, it is a very fortunate time that nation is just starting a phase of one opposition and one nation, one united opposition. That will happen because, there is only 37% vote in the favor of BJP.
Are you going to reach out to the Congress? Are you going to reach out to Mamta? Are you going to reach out to the AAP? Are you saying, when you say one opposition, does this include them?
Definitely, the consideration of unity and to be united is there inside every political party's discussion. The main discussion in India now, inside any political outfit, that we should unite first. We should unite against of the government of the day, because the nation is running on high inflation, high unemployment rate. There is no sarv dharm sambhav, there is only dharm takrav. The nation will run on sarv dharm sambhav, not on the sarv dharm takrav.
Okay, but what you're saying is important. You're saying that you're going to try and attempt to bring all parties together under this umbrella. We have Mr. Ravula Sridhar Reddy from the TRS also as well. Mr. Reddy, is that the view in the TRS as well? And how does one explain the fact that, okay, for example, the Congress is an important opposition party despite what it's going through right now, but you're all, key rivals in Telangana at the moment attacking each other. Are you going to include the Congress in this plan?
Time will say, because it's in the national perspective, we are very clear whichever all the forces who will come together fight Bharatiya Janata Party's autocratic government today. The need of the hour is putting forth a strong alternative agenda, political agenda and development agenda before the nation. That's what our Honorable CM KCR is doing. Today's meeting in Bihar with Honorable CM Nitish Kumar ji and Tejashwi Yadav ji. It's one more step towards strengthening the ties between the opposition parties and coming up, unitedly to fight against Bharatiya Janata Party, because we have a government today in the, helm of the affairs, which are trying to break the opposition parties, which are running a dictatorial rule in the country, which are trying to break the opposition governments without any constitutional respect. So at the same time, they are ruining the country. The economy is being ruined.
But does your plan, will it include the Congress? Will you be actually reaching out to the Congress to bring them on board in your main front?
See, our CM was also clear. It is just not about BJP or Congress in this country. It is about putting forth a strong alternative agenda. That's what I'm trying to tell you. Whether Congress would be there, not there, it's a different case. Today, the country needs a strong alternative agenda and a strong alternative force for BJP.
But when you say, but isn't it important to know who the constituents of that front are? The Congress is still the main pan-India opposition party. So if you're not sure if they'll be there, is it really a united front?
Nidhi, it is not the question who is going to rule, who will be the Prime Minister face, whether it will be United Front, Third Front and all. It will be a main front which is going to fight BJP's autocratic rule, and we are going to show the people of this nation that we are the strong alternative which can talk a better development model than BJP today.
All right,
we are all witnessing.
All right, let me take this to the other panelists, and first to Aarti Jairath, senior journalist joining us as well. Aarti Jairath, what do you make of this? The fact that there are so many, contradictions that are thrown up straight away apart from the Congress-TRS equations, but the fact that even the two gentlemen sharing the stage today, Nitish Kumar and KCR, are both very much potential prime ministerial contenders.
Yes, Nidhi, of course, there are lots of contradictions, and I think there are lots of obstacles on the way to creating this main front or united front or whatever they want to call it. But I think one thing is very clear. It has finally dawned on all leaders of all parties that the BJP is not just working for Congress-mukt Bharat, it is actually working to demolish all parties that stand in challenge to it. As long as the BJP was concentrating its efforts on demolishing the Congress, these parties sat quiet and didn't do anything. But the tipping point came when they toppled the Maharashtra government and broke the Shiv Sena. I think that's when the realization has dawned on everybody that all of them are in danger if the BJP is allowed to continue and if the BJP comes back for a third term. The way the ED is being used, the way the CBI is being used to target all these leaders, and if you topple the Maharashtra government, now look at what's happening in Jharkhand. There's very grave danger that that government is going to go. They tried to topple Nitish's government in Bihar. So I think all of them, there is a compulsion that is driving all of them. Now, where this is going to lead to, I don't know. These are very, very early days yet. And I think as far as the Congress is concerned, and this is the question you kept asking, that will they reach out, will they reach out? I think this effort is going to go ahead with or without the Congress. Frankly, the way the Congress is grappling with its own internal problems, it seems to be a declining force, and perhaps that is actually helping this attempt, because I think the Congress has always been the main obstacle in bringing the opposition together. So I think the decline of the Congress is actually helping the momentum. Now let's see what kind of momentum there. To bring the rest together.
But Aarti Jairath, let me take that point. I'll come back to you. I just want to take that point to Tehseen Poonawalla. Officially, the Congress is not commenting on these political developments today and watching from the sidelines. But Tehseen, of course, is a passionate supporter of the party. And Tehseen, how do you think the Congress would view this? And what Aarti Jairath said, that actually the fact that the Congress is in the state it's in today might be giving the space to other regional parties to come together more forcefully.
Good evening, Nidhi. Thank you for having me on your show, and happy Ganesh Chaturthi to you, to all my fellow panelists, and to all your viewers. Lord Ganesha brings prosperity and wisdom, so I humbly disagree with Aarti ji, and I agree with the other two panelists from the two political parties. There will be a common agenda against the BJP because, yes, the BJP is destroying all political parties and trying to impose one-party rule in our country. There will be who is the Prime Minister of the country. That will be decided by all opposition parties when they are then in government in 2024. And as the Constitution of India makes it clear, the MPs select the Prime Minister. It's not a presidential election. To the third point, yes, the Congress, I won't deny, is a declining force. However, even in a declining force, it fights BJP one-on-one on 180 seats and 210 seats. Lok Sabha seats are a direct fight between Congress and its opposition. So those seats the Congress would fight, give and take, plus here, there. What about the contradictions between, for example, the Congress and the TRS, the Congress and other regional parties, say, for example, the Biju Janata Dal? The Congress will, and the TRS, for example, because the TRS representative is here, will have to learn to live with the fact that there will be state-wise contradictions and on a national agenda come together on a common platform. That is what's going to help you consolidate the majority of the vote that is against the BJP, because the BJP has the majority of its vote against it. This is not a new phenomenon happening in the country. It's happened in the past against the Congress. It's a phenomenon happening today against the BJP, but it is history repeating itself. And I firmly believe that the opposition will succeed and will come to power and will select a prime minister based on what their promises were, and the electorate will elect them. I don't think that there is anything that is so complicated in this as it's made out to be.
Mr. Vijay Jolly of the BJP is with us, and he seems to be the only one smiling. Mr.
So
Jolly, how do you see today's developments? Now Tehseen is also smiling. So is Aarti.
Nidhi, this is a daydreaming. And I would wish to differ with my other panelists. BJP is not demolishing. BJP is defeating those parties which have ruled the country. BJP is defeating one-state parties. Nitish Kumar, who himself in a Bihar election could only get 41 seats and who was there with the help of the BJP as the Chief Minister. Today he is on the saddle of RJP with whom they had fought
against JDU in the last election.
I would rather say the nation has seen the opposition unity in recent months and times during the presidential election, during the vice presidential election.
Why are you so much worried? Why BJP is so much worried about opposition unity?
We are not worried at all. It is youth people who are worried.
It simply means that if our honorable, the JDU president, Lalan Singh ji has already stated that if we reduce 40 seats by 40 seats, your government is not going to come in 2024.
I wish to tell the JDU spokesperson, you have only existed in Bihar on the crutches of the Bharatiya Janata Party. Is it not true?
Our plan exists everywhere. Jolly Sahab, don't worry at all. The nation really is going to one united opposition, one nation, one united opposition.
Today, you are free to...
And you are so much worried because if we secure to reduce 40 seats, the BJP government is not going to be formed in 2024.
Sorry, let me ask Mr. Jolly,
and we will do it from Bihar, Jharkhand, UP.
But just on this point that Aarti Jairath raised, Mr. Jolly, about regional parties, you know, really coming together and stepping up the ante against the BJP, you don't think the fact that Mr. Nadda, your party president, talked about actually obliterating all regional parties and that only the BJP should remain, did that not in a way fuel that, beginning in Bihar?
What the BJP president wanted to say and which was misinterpreted. In democracy, there is opposition as well as the ruling party.
You always take that kind of stand. When you got caught, you take such a stand.
You want to become and nurture your ambition of
Nadda got caught in Bihar that they want to destroy every regional political parties and opposition forces. Wait for the 2024. The day has started. One nation with one united opposition will be the reality in 2024.
I just want to go across to another stakeholder. There is another stakeholder in all of this, and that is the Aam Aadmi Party. Akshay Marathe of the Aam Aadmi Party, I think, is joining us as well. Akshay Marathe, just wanted to ask you, how does the AAP look at this effort by KCR to bring all opposition parties, KCR and Nitish Kumar, to bring all opposition parties together under one umbrella? Does the AAP welcome it? Would you be part of it? Because again, you also don't have good ties, for example, with the Congress to begin with.
Nidhi, if you follow Arvind Kejriwal's statements on this issue for the last 2-3 years, you will notice that he has never talked about defeating the BJP using arithmetic. His only stance, the Aam Aadmi Party's only stance throughout has been that the BJP can only be defeated if an opposition unit or an opposition is able to present an alternative economic vision to the people of India, a vision that will make them believe that yes, this opposition unit can give us hope for a better future. And the Aam Aadmi Party is right now focused very keenly on presenting that model to the people of India. We have focused very keenly on showing that we are capable of delivering a better future for the people of this country, whether it is through our education model, through our healthcare model. And that is what we believe the people of India are also looking for. Today, whenever you ask people whether you will vote for the BJP,
is best suited to be the next Prime Minister of India.
Mr.
Jolly, let him finish, yeah.
Mr. Jolly, I just want to say, today, if you go out into the public and you ask people, what is it that you want from your government? They say we want education, we want healthcare, we want employment, we want less inflation.
And a
liberal
liquor policy in the capital also.
And they say which parties
a liberal liquor policy
is completely failed. Mr. Jolly, let's not heckle each other. This is not, let's be civil. I think so. What I'm trying to get at, Nidhi, is that it's important what issues parties are raising, not which parties coming together with which party. And if it is about, working together, Arvind Kejriwal ji has always said that he's open to working with any party. In fact, next week, I want to tell your viewers, Mr. Kejriwal will be in Tamil Nadu with the Chief Minister of Tamil Nadu, Mr. Stalin, inaugurating model schools in that state. Just last week,
But the AAP has, but here comes the contradiction. Akshay Marathi, the point is the AAP has already said 2024 is Kejriwal versus Modi. So then how does that play out in the sort of larger scheme of working with the opposition in under a larger umbrella? If you've decided it's Kejriwal versus Modi, then doesn't that create problems for opposition unity?
Nidhi, I think the decision is for the people to make, whether it's Kejriwal versus Modi or not. And the only reason that AAP said it is Kejriwal versus Modi is because of the BJP's actions against the Aam Aadmi Party. If you follow the BJP's constant onslaught against the Aam Aadmi Party and Mr. Kejriwal, it shows their insecurity that they see Mr. Kejriwal as the only threat to the Bharatiya Janata Party's popularity. They see that Mr. Kejriwal is a leader who people are accepting as the next Prime Minister of India, or they are looking forward to Mr. Kejriwal as the next Prime Minister of India. This is not something that the Aam Aadmi Party is only saying. If you look at the India Today Mood of the Nation survey, the survey had very clearly shown that Mr. Kejriwal is number one when it comes to people's choice of who the next opposition leader should be. If you look at the best Chief Minister list of according to that
opposition
poll,
unity, Tehseen Poonawala?
Look, Nidhi, I don't know why this is so difficult and why analysts try to make this so difficult. I may oppose Aam Aadmi Party, I oppose Akshay Marathi, but why should Mr. Kejriwal not have the right to think he could be Prime Minister, Mr. KCR or Nitish? This is exactly what we celebrate. This is our democracy. Everyone has the right. The elected MPs will select the Prime Minister. We will fight on issues.
Because in the minds of voters, Tehseen Poonawala, they know that there is one Mr. Narendra Modi against who knows how many potential prime ministerial candidates. Face it. It's very much about the personality as well, isn't it?
Let's move away from the iconic politics.
Please, just take 20 seconds. Nidhi, this is not a presidential form of democracy. And Baba Sahib Ambedkar in our Constituent Assembly explained why we don't have a presidential democracy and why we have a parliamentary democracy. So from Kashmir to Kanyakumari, from Mr. Stalin to Mr. Kejriwal,
Mr. Reddy wants to come. Mr. Reddy, do you agree? Is it going to work? Are you going to be able to sell this to voters without one face?
Of course, see, we have to move away with this kind of iconic politics in the country. What Modi has done, there is no proof anywhere. It's only publicity which brought them into the main fore. Today, as Mr. Poonawala was saying, we have to go to the people with a development agenda, a strong alternative agenda. It is not one person, running the government. Today, if you look at the NDA government, it's all about Narendra Modi and nothing else. What have they done in the past 8 years? They broke governments, they broke the opposition parties, they sold public sector units, and they have put people in the jail, whoever questioned them. This is what they are doing actually. So we wanted to go to the public with a strong alternative agenda. See, once BJP-mukt Bharat, the slogan is given by KCR ji today, and we are going to unite all those forces who wants to fight against BJP. And once we achieve That definitely, anybody can be the Prime Minister. As Punawala was saying, anybody can be the Prime
It's
Minister.
interesting times ahead. Whether you're going to be able to convince people that where the BJP is so
100%.
centered around Mr. Modi's personality, whether you can convince people.
That is their weakness.
Yes. Well,
they are not in a position, Nidhi, they are not in a position to even accept anybody else. One more face in their party. You have seen Gadkari, you have seen Advani, you have seen Prakash Javadekar, you have seen Ravi Shankar Prasad. What is their fate today? They don't want to see one more face in BJP as their leader. And BJP was not this.
Okay,
and this is not BJP
I'm completely out of time, but fascinating to talk to all of you about this within an hour or so of this happening. Thank you very much to all of you for joining us on NDTV.